Hello. Today I'm going to show you how to network a Zmodo SFN series DVR. This is Zmodo's only Mac compatible DVR, which includes the 9124, SAN8, 9128, and SFN6 series DVR. Make sure that you have a monitor connected to it, the mouse plugged in, and an Ethernet cable going to the router from the back of the DVR. Now, using the mouse, we're going to right click and go into main menu, and then head into the advanced menu and then straight to network. Now the first thing we're going to change here says static. Let's switch that over to DHCP and just hit apply at the bottom. Don't worry about any of the other options. And then just go ahead and click OK to save once you get that prompt to do so. Now using the mouse, right click several times. This should take you out of all the menus and then give you a prompt to restart the system. So basically what we did is we set the DVR to automatically pick up an IP address from the router that it's connected to. And once it restarts, we're going to collect some information from the network settings. Now that the DVR is back on and restarted, let's go right back into the main menu, Advanced, and Network. As you can see here, it has an IP address that's different than the default one. You want to write down the media port as well as the web port. Write down the IP address and the gateway, because we're going to need to use those numbers here later. And we're also going to actually change the web port from 0080 to 00081, because internet service providers tend to block port 80 from being opened up, so make sure you change it from 80 to 81. And then we'll just hit apply down at the bottom. Then click OK to save. For the most part, anytime you change network settings, it almost always requires the DVR to restart the system to apply those settings. So once I exit out of the menu, let's go into the mobile section because this is for your mobile phones. The default username is admin. There is no password, but also write down this port number because that's your mobile port number to use on your phones. So now that we have that information, we can go ahead and head to the computer. And the first thing we want to do on the computer is open up Internet Explorer. And in the address bar, we're just going to type in the IP address that we collected from the DVR. So http://192.168.1.101, and because the web port is 81, we need to add a :81 and then press enter. Now you see Web Application Manager, and it wants to run a plugin, but before we do that, we need to change some options. So go to the Tools menu, and then Internet Options. And then once the Internet Options pops up, click on Security, and then Custom Level. Now you can see my mouse, we're going to just scroll right to about that point, and I'll give you the first option that we need to change. It says Download Unsigned ActiveX Controls. That needs to be set to prompt, and then the next option right below it, Initialize and Script ActiveX, that also needs to be set to prompt as well. Those are the only two options we need to change. So go ahead and click Apply and OK. And now let's proceed with running the add-on. For Mac computers, most likely you want to use a software disk. Here's the DVR's login page. By default, there is no password on the DVR, so once you get to the login page, you can just click Login, and you'll get that message, Login Success. I don't have any cameras connected to the system, but this is what the web browser interface looks like. You can play back previously recorded videos by clicking on Playback and change settings in the Setup menu. So we're going to go right into the Setup menu and head over to Network. Now we're going to change the type from DHCP to static. Now that we have a working IP address and it's set to static, this IP address does not change on you, and this will always be the internal IP address to use whenever you're on the same network as the DVR. So just make sure you switch it back to static from DHCP, hit OK to save, and then that's going to be the IP address to use. But also there's an external IP address to use whenever you're away. So now we're going to set this up for remote access. Open up a new tab, and this time in the address bar, type in the gateway IP that we wrote down. So 192.168.1.1. And this is the router login. If you're unsure what your router login is, you can always Google search by the brand and search for the default router login information. So I'm going to go ahead and log in here. And as you can see, this is a Linksys router. If you're unsure how to port forward in your router, you can always go to portforward.com for assistance and search by your brand. Let's go over to Applications and Gaming to set up port forwarding in this router. Make sure you're under single port forwarding, and we're going to name these services or apps by the port number. So DVR 81 will be 1. Next one would be DVR 9000. And the mobile port, DVR 15961. Nope, it looks like it cut it short, but I'll just go ahead and put 15961 here so that way you know what port number to reference. So the external port for the first line is going to be 81. The internal port is going to be the same number, 81. Protocol, you want to leave it at both. If you don't have the option, just choose TCP. And the IP address it's asking for is the DVRs ending in 101. I'll do the same thing for this one, port 9000. 9000 again. And the DVR's IP address ending in 101 and enabled. Then the mobile port, 15961, 15961. If you're unsure what application to download for your Android or iPhone, you can always download ZViewer. It's free. Just once you get the port forward settings done, go ahead and hit apply or save. And then the page will refresh or will confirm. So we're going to check our port forwarding and see if it's done. Now, you want to go to this website called yougetsignal.com. And this is pretty much the website I use to verify my port forwarding. If you click on what is my IP address, it's going to show you your external address. So that external address is what you want to use outside the network. Port forwarding tester to check and verify if the ports are open. If they are closed, you can contact Zmodo technical support for assistance or your internet service provider for assistance. And that is how you network a DVR. Thank you.